Hot 91, the soul of VA. I'm Alana Mercedes, and it's time for Club Creative Hour, my favorite part of every Wednesday, where we tap in with creatives who are reshaping culture, identity, and the spaces that we move through, all through their craft. Now, today we're joined by a visionary whose work speaks volumes through simplicity, and you've probably seen his black and white shapes on walls all across Virginia, turning everyday spaces into reflections of deeper truths. Now, his work has been exhibited in institutions across the region, from the Virginia MoCA and the Hermitage to international shows in China. He's been everywhere and collected everywhere, from Capital One to the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. So he's left his mark through murals at Pharrell's Something in the Water, Busch Gardens. Like I said, his work is everywhere. Even if you don't know that you've seen it, you've probably seen it. He's an abstract artist and muralist whose work is doing an incredible job of exploring duality, emotion, and the parts of ourselves that we don't always know how to say out loud. So please join me in welcoming none other than the one known professionally as DKANE.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here today. My full name is DKANE, but people call me DKANE, that black and white guy of Hampton Roads. And just glad to be here.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to have you. And I wasn't sure, do you want to be called Dathan? Do you want to be called DKANE? Like, that's what I met you as. That's what I knew you as, DKANE.
Yeah, DKANE works fine for me. When people see me, they rarely call me by my first name. It's just DKANE. So I'm like, that works. Or just black and white guy.
Okay, for sure. So, like I said, I personally have seen your art all over Hampton Roads. I just never knew what I was looking at before I knew the artist.
Right.
And I'm sure, like I said, if people realized what it was that you did and what your work looks like, they'd be like, oh, I know exactly what that is. You know what I mean? Right. So what did your journey as an artist begin as, and how did it evolve into what we see now with these familiar black and white shapes? Because I know it probably didn't start off as that.
Right. No. So in the beginning, I'll take it back to school. So I attended Virginia State University. It's located in Petersburg, VA. I actually went in undergrad. It's like undecided. I wasn't sold because initially I didn't see like a full career in this, and I was like, I wanted to make sure that I was getting the most out of my college experience. And so I went in undecided, and then second semester, I made the decision. I was like, yeah, this is it. So art and design was the major with the focus on illustration. And so I spent time just really trying to figure out that visual language that I wanted to bring, just to myself and really just portray something different. And that took time, years after school. So like my senior year was approaching. I still was like, man, I don't really know like what I'm doing, but I'm going to try. And so I came out of school and I started off as like a still life and portrait painter. I really didn't get into painting like that until my last year of school. And then I was like, okay, this is it. I need to explore and really put myself out there. And I got bored, so I got bored with what I was doing right away. I had my first contract show at Down and Gross Cultural Arts Center.
Right.
It's located in Newport News. And I had an opportunity to paint like a series of like 20 portraits. They were all like, I want to say 4x5, that size range. And I had like 2 months to complete the show. So my first contract show, this was in 2014. So I graduated in 2014. And I had my first opportunity then later that year. And after the show, I was like, I need to scrap like what I'm doing because I didn't feel that it represented me, wasn't authentic to me. And I wanted to go into a complete new direction. I wasn't sure what that was back then. And I had an opportunity to go to Art Basel in 2015. So 2015, went to Art Basel. It's an art fair that takes place in Miami every December. So you have galleries from all over the world that come and represent their artists and give them that platform. And that was just a life-changing experience for me. I was like, this is it. I'm seeing artists working at the highest level. What does that look like for me back home? I'm coming from Virginia, so this is not necessarily the biggest art market compared to like a New York or LA.
Exactly.
It's different. But then at the same time, it's something special that we have here where it's not, overly saturated. It's something that you can build from the ground up. That's what I wanted to do. So coming back home, I was living in Richmond off and on between 2014, 2015, and I fell in love with the city of Richmond. There are murals everywhere, and I was like, man, the art scene here is, really thriving and progressive. So I felt that, like, I want to see more of that back home. This is during a time where I wasn't seeing murals, driving out to Norfolk and Virginia Beach. The neon wasn't where it is now,
right.
And the Vibe District isn't where it is now. So just really searching for the art family. So in my home space, I was exploring like shapes. That's something that spoke to me. I was exploring abstract art while I was at Basel, and really just wanted to take that work in a different direction using black and white. So it started from there. I took the shapes to see how it would translate to paper, and then to canvas, and then eventually to the wall, where I landed my first big project and my first wall project in 2018, and really just took off from there.
Well, how did you decide with black and white? Was that something that was inspired during Art Basel? Like, where did the idea of just those two colors on either side of the spectrum, how did you come to that decision?
So my work has a theme that has a focus on the duality of the human experience. So there's order, there's chaos, there's presence, there's absence, the choices that we make, and then the consequences of the choices that we make, whether positive or negative. And so my job was to explore that and communicate that via composition, using black and white organic shapes, and seeing how that can impact and resonate with the absence of color, So I wanted people to question that, because when you think of art, like in most cases you think of color. I wanted to challenge that in a way, and see if it could still resonate. I wanted to taking cues from artists like Keith Haring. His work, you can recognize it no matter where you are in the world. So I wanted to come up with something that, whether you know who I am or not, you can still recognize it, and you can have that moment of like, man, I didn't know that I needed this. So public art has the power to do that. So when you see public art, murals, even sculpture, attending galleries and museums, you're able to witness that, and it gives you the opportunity to kind of take a break from reality, and have a conversation with yourself, so It has you think of the world that you're living in a different way, and that was my goal.
Okay, well, given that, so going back a little bit, you said you went into college undecided, right?
Right.
But when did you actually begin playing with art as a form of expression for yourself? Is that something that happened before then, and you weren't sure if you wanted to take it as like a career path, or like when did that start? When was the first time that art made you feel something?
So the exact moment for that.
Oh, there's a pinpoint.
Yes,
okay,
there's a
love
pinpoint.
it.
There's a pinpoint. So at the age of 3 years old, I was witnessing my grandmother and my grandfather. They were, just in the garden watering flowers, and I was like, I just picked up a pencil and started, illustrating that, and I would say that it was, fairly detailed, and it had like the colors there. It made sense. It read as like, this is, what was happening, and my folks had recognized, like, okay, he has something here. We want to foster that and encourage and support that.
That's excellent.
Big shout out to my parents. They were extremely supportive with this journey. And they, had me in various art programs, and, different art clubs, all types of things just to really foster that, the talent that was brewing. And they felt it and wanted to, just pour into that. So I'm thankful for that. That was like the beginning. I was inspired from like watching cartoons, just growing up. I'm also the only child too, so
okay.
no siblings. So it was a way just to keep myself entertained. I would sketch, I would cut out, my illustrations and like use that to stage different things, and that was like my form of entertainment back then. So that was like the early direction of like, I think I know what I want to do, but I wanted to be sure that I had a career in that. So.
Okay, absolutely. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We have DKANE in the building for Club Creative on Hot 91, the soul of VA. Hot 91, the soul of VA. I'm Alana Mercedes. We have DKANE in the building for Club Creative Hour today. Again, you've seen the black and white shapes all over Hampton Roads, and today we get the opportunity to talk to the man behind them. So we were initially talking about, of course, how the black and white visual is your aesthetic and how it has a deeper message, or a message that people can kind of learn from within the human experience, things that we all experience, including dualities, order versus chaos, choice versus consequence. Has there ever been a moment in your personal life where those opposites may have collided and produced something different in your art forms? Because I noticed, like, I've never seen, no pun intended, but any gray area in your work.
Right.
So has there been any experiences that have collided and created kind of a different form of art for you?
Right. So I've had various stages throughout my career with trying to figure out like what I'm trying to say. There's been times where, I felt that there were a lot of things happening in my personal life, and I want to make sure that I'm pouring that into the work. It's important for that to be seen because it allows viewers, your audience, to see who you are, at your core. And that's something that it took time because you have to build up this confidence, because there are going to be times where you're dealing with like imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. Can I do this? Is this meant for me? And you have to stick with it regardless. My motto has always been, the hard work keeps going. So there's been times in my personal life where I've gone through loss and just trying to figure out, I'm like, is this really who I am? So I wanted to make sure that those were different elements that I was able to pour into the work. And that's something that, took time. But there's definitely been times of like, if I have a week where there's like, there's a lot of like positive things happening, you may see more white space happening like in the work, where it's like the negative space, where it's like, the black areas in the composition, you'll see be like more dominant, in the work. So it changes throughout, every week it's changing. I'm always in the studio working. I always try to make sure that each painting it's its own thing. Each mural is its own thing. Each project it has to look different, even though it's important to have that
like that foundational.
Yeah, the foundation. Yeah, like you have to have that foundation. I want to make sure that each painting is its own thing, even though, it's something that you recognize. It's like, oh, it's a similar thing. Like I've seen this somewhere before. So I'm like, how can I make this different? But at the same time, it's like I'm using like repetition. This concept of everywhere I go, there's something I've seen that looks just like this. And if I'm able to strike that conversation, I'm doing my job as an artist.
So something that I really love with that is that that kind of draws me to that saying that, what is it, life imitates art or art imitates life. It's kind of both. I think that happens both ways. And I like how you said sometimes, depending on what's going on in your life, the negative space will change in your artwork or things like that. But has there ever been a time when something that you've created has affected the way that you think about an experience that you're having currently in your life? Like, maybe something has more of the white space, for instance, and it makes you look at a situation differently within your own life?
Yes. So there's been times where I'll use examples of just projects that have changed the course of like where I thought I was going initially, from the very beginning. The reason why I even sought out to do this in the first place, that's changed over the years. I was thinking, right after school, like I'm going to be at the top right away. Then you get out into the real world, and it tells you something different. Just like it's like a reality check. But I think having those moments causes you to grow, and I found ways to really just show gratitude from the various projects, and when opportunities come up, I'm like, how can I make the most of this and really just pour everything I can into this project? And those experiences, like for an example, Something in the Water, Pharrell's Festival in 2023 was like a huge experience for me. White Claw was one of the sponsors for the festival that year, and I received a call from Kate Pittman, who runs the Vibe District, and she told me that they had plans to work with you. I told them, I was like, let me know what day, what time,
and I'll be there.
Yeah, and I'll be there, and I'll be there. It was crazy, but I'm thankful for that. They had everything planned on the Jumbotron too, so we shot a commercial. A good friend of mine, Tremaine, who runs Fawn, and so he, captured the whole experience, and just really grateful for it. And seeing that on like a big screen, on the big stage, I was like, man, it's just another reminder of like, keep going, and things will come out of it. So
with those times where you've obviously been on a grand stage like that, and like I said, you've had collections at places like Capital One, Dollar Tree, you obviously did the thing for Something in the Water. Has there ever been a time when you might have felt tempted or even pressured to change your art style according to what you think people would find more palatable or digestible, or did it maybe even strengthen your identity in your own work?
Yes. So in the beginning, when I was making that transition from like painting still lifes and portraits, which I'm still thankful for that time, because I was able to figure out like just paint application, what paint, what materials, what I needed to use. But when I was trying to find that new thing, initially I wasn't selling nothing. Opportunities weren't coming my way as often. So there were times where I felt discouraged. I'm like, man, is this, can I do this? And I felt, I was like, I'm gonna keep going and stick with this. I believe in the work that I'm doing. I felt that coming back home in 2015 from Richmond, I was like, yeah, this is the right step. And I'm gonna stay committed. You have to stay committed. I had the opportunity to meet a great mentor of mine. Some may be familiar with his work. His name's Asa Jackson, head director of the Contemporary Arts Network, and they do a lot of great work working with artists and just focusing on developing their crafts and and their journey. And they do just an awesome job with that. And it was the art family that I needed. At that time, they were opening up a gallery. It was called 670 Gallery. I was like, I'm gonna work here. I'm gonna volunteer my time and work for you for free. I was like, I want to be here and figure out like how this world works for real. and they took me on. I was helping with like curating shows, installations, and just really figuring out like how this works, and that really was like another stepping stone to the greater art world.
Yes.
And especially after like experiencing Art Basel, I'm like, there are artists who look like me that are working at a high level. I was like, I have to do the same thing. I have no choice. So yeah.
Well, stepping into that community of like-minded people, how important has that been in kind of fostering more strength in your own identity? Because I know that community is just a big part, in my opinion, of being a creative, because
Right.
it's like you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people who are kind of maybe just pouring into you or encouraging who you are. So how important was creating that community of like-minded artists in reaffirming who you are as an artist? What role did community play in that?
Community plays a massive role in everything that we do. I'll say it one more time. Community plays a massive role in everything that we do. Oftentimes when we're doing things, it's often never for ourselves, it's for the people around us, to get inspired to do the same thing for others, because it's never for us. I told myself, if I'm not seeing, I'm from Virginia. I'm not seeing art literally on every corner, but I still imagine that, and I felt that like I could be an example, and I set out to do that coming back here. So I committed myself to painting as often as I could, hoping that it could be just an example for artists that are from here that want to do the same thing. Community, that engagement where you're driving to work every day, that daily commute.
Mm-hmm.
You find, you see a mural, it takes you out of reality for a second, makes you question different things about yourself, and that is I think the impact that public art can have. Even just with street art, the space for that, it allows for those that may not always feel comfortable in a gallery or a museum space, the art is still able to reach you.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's something that was important to me, working in a street art space, gallery space, museum space. How can I reach all walks of life, all backgrounds, because people need this? So
And you're doing an amazing job at doing that. It definitely, your work definitely makes me question. Immediately, I'm like, wait, what does this mean?
Right.
Like,
right.
immediately, I'm like, what am I supposed to be taking away from this? Because it is so simplistic, but like you said, each piece has its own unique twist. It like
Right.
each piece means something different. So I think that's definitely important that other people are able to experience that. It really gets the mind going. So I think that you're doing an incredible job at that. And speaking of public art, especially abstract public art, how do you think that it functions in a community like Hampton Roads? Because I know that our Neon District, it's over the last couple of years, it's grown and it's become something super cool. I love going out there.
Yes.
How do you think that public art functions in Hampton Roads in general?
I think art, to me, is at the center of everything. It is the foundation of most things, and I think that it has a place in Hampton Roads. We have something special here, where you're able to shine in a different way, and people are able to see what you're doing, and they support it and believe in that. Art, at the same time, it can drive tourism. It could be the reason why people want to move to a certain place.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to come here, you see, if you're walking out your apartment, walking out of your house, you're driving up the street, and you're grabbing a bite to eat, and you see like 2 murals on your way. That just adds to your day. So you go home and your whole like day is changed from just being inside, so getting outside, looking at what artists how artists have contributed to the different cities throughout Hampton Roads. It's been something special to witness, and I'm honored to be able to contribute a part,
Absolutely.
over the years to that, and it's been, I'm just grateful to do it. I encourage people to take time to sit with the work, and if you're driving around, like it's there, Neon District, Vibe District. We also with the Contemporary Arts Network, we just completed the Newport News Street Museum project. It was a project that took place like early 2 years ago, and it was something that I felt that Newport News needed during that time, and so we have that. It's becoming more progressive, and I love seeing that that happened in 7-5. Yeah,
I can totally attest to what you said too about how art will literally brighten your day if you see it like just while you're out. It makes an area more appealing to me in general. It just, I don't know, it's something about it. It definitely draws people in. Now, a big part of Club Creative here is mental health, or a big part of my life in general. Is very important. It's just mental health,
Right.
And I feel as though a lot of artists use their form of art, whatever it may be, as a way of making sure that you're maintaining your mental space, making sure that it's a positive area to be in, or at least giving you an outlet for your mental space. So how has your version of art contributed to either giving you an outlet for, I don't know, whatever emotions you might have at the time, or just making sure that you're maintaining a healthy mental space? What has your form of art done for you as it pertains to that?
Right. So my motto, it's the idle mind can cause you to feel certain emotions. So it's always, it's worked out for me. I make sure to pour whatever emotions I'm going through into the work. I'm able to channel that, and that's how I'm able to come up with the various compositions. And it's something that it's constructive. I'm not just sitting down. I'm up, I'm moving, whether I'm working on a wall, if I'm out in the studio, like I'm constantly moving. So that to me is something that it causes my mental state to be a lot healthier, because I know that I'm being productive and I'm working towards a goal. And being productive, it helps. So if you have a goal in mind, anything, even if art is not your thing, if it is something else entirely, pour everything into that. Make sure to always remain productive, because the idle mind, it causes you to go to a place.
Wow.
And so those moments where I'm like, man, I might be feeling down this week, but have I made new work? Have I even, do I take time to look at my sketchbook? Am I watching, documentaries, films to get, inspired and to see like what direction I can go? What is it that I'm doing? And in those moments, I'm like, okay, let me get up, off the couch, and get busy,
and do something.
So, and the same thing applies to like, music, everything.
Yeah.
And that's my approach.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I say that often actually on my show. I'm like, make sure you're taking inventory of what you're spending your time on, especially those times when you feel like I'm stuck, I feel like I'm down, I'm not myself. What are you doing with your time? And that's a really big thing. I thought the way that I was raised to hear it is that an idle mind is the devil's playground or something like that.
Yes.
So
you just that's it right there.
Yeah, you just want to make sure that you're, using your time for something, like you said, productivity. But the way that you explained it, it's like not toxic productivity where you're just running from something per se, but you're growing. You're doing something positive with your time. So I love the way that you think about that.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned to DKANE in the building on Hot 91, the soul of VA. Hot 91, the soul of VA. I'm Alana Mercedes, and before we continue our conversation with DKANE, we had one of our lovely listeners tap in who wanted to say a quick word to DKANE. So are you still there?
I am still here.
Hi.
Hello.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Drew from Good News, Newport News.
From Good News to Newport News. Okay, what's up with you, Drew? What do you have to say?
Just wanted to give DKANE his flowers. Love seeing his work. Love working with him. And it's always a pleasure to drive past and see one of the pieces he's put up. Always consistent, and I appreciate him, man.
Thank you. It means a lot. Moments like this, I'm always grateful, and to continue the work, and it means a lot. Thank you.
No doubt.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much,
bro.
Drew.
All right, no problem.
That's what I'm talking about. You're making a difference in the community here. That's obvious. But what can I say? Your work speaks for itself.
Thank you.
Of course. Absolutely. Now, DKANE, when somebody does come across your artwork, let's say even a kid, an adult who might be having a tough time, or I don't know, maybe having a really good time. Maybe their life is great right now. But when people see your work, what is it that you're hoping they take away from it, or what they feel from it initially? Because it really is a different language. It genuinely speaks a different language. What would you hope that a person takes away from it?
So
You're fine.
but yeah, I hope that people can take away just a moment to reflect with themselves, and to really feel that they can do whatever it is they want to do in life. When viewing, if they're coming across a mural, I hope it resonates with them in that way. I hope it opens up doors to what's possible, the potential that they have in their own life, and that's something that I want to make sure people feel. I encourage, when people do view my work, I encourage both positive and negative reactions. I know it's wild for me to say.
No, I don't think so at all, actually.
I feel that if it is, let's say you do have, negative reaction to the work, it has you feeling a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that I'm doing my job as an artist, to have you feel an emotion, whether it's positive, if you love the work, if you're like, man, I'm the black and white, I love it. I'm seeing the black and white, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I encourage the reactions, and it's just that conversation that you're able to have, and it's the opportunity to reflect in that. And it is why artists do what they do, and I want to continue doing that. So I encourage all types of feedback.
Yeah.
I love what I do. It's something that I want to see others do more of, especially throughout the area, because 7-5 is something special. So
absolutely. Well, I definitely agree with you on that one. We have
Yeah.
some amazing artists out here, you being one of them, but the talent out here is it's insane. So I agree with that, though. You just want somebody to feel something towards
Yes.
it. You know what I mean? Now, what can we expect with you coming up next? What do you have going on?
So I have a few projects, some under wraps that I can't share quite yet. Something exciting and something different that people haven't really seen from me. So I'm excited to reveil that.
Wait, I'm scared. Is it color?
No.
Okay.
I can tell you with confidence. No. But I do get that question often. Like, DKANE, would you ever work with, use color in your work? And it, I'm never gonna say never.
Mm-hmm.
But at this time in my life, black and white represents me. So I'm sticking with that. And but you will see how that can translate to different mediums over the span of this journey. So it can look like, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But I'm exploring that now. I'm currently working on a new mural project in Newport News now, and wrapping up a few projects later in the year that I can't say too much on, but I just wrapped up a few auction events.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I'm always it's a great way to have your work seen in a certain light, but then it's like you're contributing to a great cause. whether it's, it's a nonprofit, an organization that is impactful to their community. I do a lot of work in Richmond. I work with a lot of organizations out there. And it's been cool to just be a part of that and contribute, my work to that. And so that was some recent projects that I was a part of. And toward the end of the year, I can't speak on it, but it's some exciting things. But I'm always working. I'm always in paint clothes. My signature bucket hat. So if you see me, you just know that I'm at work. I treat my paint clothes as uniform, because this is how I show up to work. So if you see me,
then we'll know exactly who you are. Yes, you're working.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. So besides seeing your work all over Hampton Roads and beyond and being able to recognize you from there, how can people get in contact with you or see you on socials?
Yeah, so I'm very active on Instagram. That's probably the best way to reach out to me, connect with me, just to see what I'm up to. You can follow me at _DKANE. So _DKANE. It should say World of Shapes. That's what I'm building. And I
absolutely love the name World of Shapes, because that's what it is. But the World of Shapes has its own language, and that's the coolest part about this. But lastly, DKANE, what is it that you're hoping your mark is on the planet? Let's say, I don't know, it hasn't been that long, but you've already left such a major mark. And even in the next 20 years, what is it that you're hoping that people know you for here in Hampton Roads? And again, even globally, because you've done work everywhere at this point. What is it that you're hoping that message is?
That's a great question. The mark that I want to leave, I want to be known as someone a hardworking person that operated with humility. That's what I want to leave behind. And if that inspires others to do the same, then I left my mark.
That is beautiful. Wow. Excellent answer, and I'm sure that you will see that through for sure. I can tell even just by now this conversation. So thank you so much, DKANE, for your time. We truly appreciated having you as a guest on Club Creative.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. I have your mental health moment with Mercedes coming up on Hot 91, the soul of VA.